Oh, hey everybody! It's 8:02 on August 24th, and this is Spam Sports, Politics, and More. I'm joined today with my host, Nick Durst. What's going on, Nick?
What is up, John Brown? We got another jam-packed show this evening. As usual, we have a lot to talk about. But if you want to join the discussion, join the conversation, we want to hear what you have to say. So you can either give us a call at 1-718-717-8296, or you can tweet us. And we are available to be tweeted at either at Nick_Durst or at us_sports, or our brand new Twitter handle at spam_UCYTV. Or you can, as always, type in the chat room, and we'll be monitoring it and taking your questions from there as well.
So I'm actually we got a pretty interesting spot today. Your doppelganger is going to be on. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So a few weeks ago, I got a message on Twitter from this person, and it just so happened that he had the same name as me, Nick Durst. So we'll be setting some radio history tonight. For the first time ever, two people with the same name will both be on the show at the same exact time. It's going to be really crazy, and we will be talking sports with him in the beginning of the show.
Yeah, so he has his own sports radio podcast. What are the chances of that?
And he's also apparently from New York, so it's really crazy.
I wonder if he's related to Robert Durst, the murderer.
I don't think so. Probably not.
Hey, we don't know unless we ask. You got to ask the hard-hitting questions here.
Oh, we'll learn more about him soon. He'll be calling any minute now. I don't really know anything about him.
Speak of the devil. We got him calling right now.
All right.
Let's add him. How do I add him to a call? So I'm trying not to lose the radio signal like we did the last couple weeks.
Yep.
So answering this current call will blah, 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 blah. Fuck. All right, so I'm going to just call him back.
What's up? What's going on over there at the phone lines?
You know what it is? It's the stupid Skype nonsense. So, it says answering this call, put your current call on hold. Hold on a second, Nick. You keep talking.
Yeah, there's got to be a way to join it. So, obviously tonight with Nick Durst, it's going to be radio history. It's going to be very weird to have two people with the same exact name on the show at the same exact time. It's never been done before in the history of radio, I don't think. If me and hosted the show together, we could just call it the Nick Durst Show with your hosts Nick Durst and Nick Durst. Like we said, we don't know much about the guy other than he's got a great name. He'll be on momentarily to talk about himself. We can learn a little bit more about him. We're also going to talk some sports. The MLB season's coming towards an end here. NFL season just about to literally kick off. And, of course, the Olympics wrapped up Sunday night. Lots to talk about there, both from a sports perspective and political perspective as well.
Hey, how's it going, guys? We got a couple of Nick Durst on now.
So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcoming the other Nick Durst to the show, making radio history here for the first time ever. Two people with the same exact name on the same radio show. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, what an important radio show. Really breaking down barriers here. Two Nick Durst, one radio show. Who knows what's going to happen?
Absolutely.
So, Nick, I hear that you also run a sports podcast, if you will. What kind of fan are you?
So I'm a New York guy like you guys. I'm from Westchester. You guys are Staten Island guys. I get that. I'm a Yankees fan. I'm a Knicks fan. I'm a huge Rangers fan. So I kind of get it. But yeah, you can find my podcast at Nick Sports Talk Radio. .podbean. I'm still on podbean.com. Go there and check it out. But yeah, thanks for having me on the show. I listened to a bunch of Spam last night. Pretty entertaining stuff. So I'm happy to be here, guys. Thanks a lot.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you on. And we have a first comment from the chat from Otto, our big fan Otto. Thanks for listening as always, Otto. He says, double the Durst, double the danger. Great comment right there. So, Nick, why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself? Like, where did you go to college? What did you study? And what's your profession? Or if you're still in college? We have no idea anything about each other, really.
So I actually just graduated college in May. I graduated from the University of North Carolina. Go Tar Heels. And right now I'm just kind of looking for the next step, honestly. I got a podcast going. I'm moving to Austin, Texas in the fall. And I have a job doing financial consulting there. So that's kind of where I'm at.
All right, very nice. But obviously your true passion is sports, not exactly finance. Let's talk a little sports. We're all New Yorkers here. Let's first talk about John Neese. He's simply the worst. He sucks. He was placed on the DL today with a knee injury. He's really being placed on the DL with the injury of awful, because that's what he is. He's just awful. Last night he pitched 1/3 of an inning, gave up 3 runs. And as soon as the Mets announced he was actually going to start again, I was totally shocked because the guy has a 9.28 ERA this season with the New York Mets, which is brutal. And Sandy Alderson thinks that he's just a phenomenal pitcher. Oh, we got John Neese. He's a lefty. The only good thing about John Neese is his nose job, which Carlos Beltran paid for. So I was actually happy to see him get rocked last night. I was texting a bunch of people during the day how John Neese shouldn't start, and then as soon as the Mets scored 3 runs in the top of the first, I said, that's definitely not enough for John Neese. I didn't think he was only going to go 1/3 of an inning, which was just atrocious. What are your guys' takes on that?
Well, I'll let other go first.
All right. Well, it's funny because you had a guy getting traded from Pittsburgh to New York last night and bombing. And then you had a guy traded from New York to Pittsburgh last night, Ivan Nova, complete game, 1 run, 6-hitter. And it's just like that's kind of the gift and the curse with New York, right? So
yeah,
he's been here. So
they wasted all the money on the Mets, trade him back to Pittsburgh because he sucked with the Mets, and he's been great with the Pirates so far. And for some reason, well, John Neese has just sucked all around, but the Pirates were actually shocked and surprised that John Neese had an inability to put hitters away. Like, did they not watch him his first 7 years of his career?
Right. And he came back to New York, and they had what they had for him. They had a highlight video tribute on the big screen over there at Citi Field for him. And that was pretty amazing. I mean, people say that too many people go into Monument Park, but, I mean, the Mets are giving video tributes to John Neese. It's kind of the same thing.
All right, so I hate John Neese like the rest of us, but for different reasons. A, I don't blame John Neese. He sucks. There's nothing you can do about it. It's, how much blood can you get from the stone? The guy sucks. It really comes down to the fact that Sandy Alderson overvalues left-handed pitching, and he's drinking his own Kool-Aid here with sabermetric bullshit. And he got this guy who has a career 4 ERA, in a very friendly pitcher's park. And they sent him to a hitter's park, and he got rocked up because he's a bum. I loved the trade when we got rid of him, but I just completely scratched my head when we got him back. Like, you're telling me no, we couldn't get rid of Bastardo any other way to any other team rather than getting a retrade of a guy who basically, he told the manager to go fuck himself one time, and he left town in in disgrace. Why would we bring him back? That's insane to me.
Yeah, he was saying, the Mets defense is so terrible. Meanwhile, he's just giving up home run after home run. He has given up the second most home runs in the majors this year, and he's only had 14 starts because the Pirates realized he sucked. So, no matter who's playing the field for you, if you're giving the ball, if you're getting up home runs, the defense is not going to matter. This guy is not a major league pitcher anymore. If the Mets bring him back next season, if they tender him a contract, I am going to be so disgusted. And that just leads into the fact that Sandy Alderson is clueless. He has no idea what he's doing. He's been getting really lucky last year with Omar Minai's players, and then he just happened to have every trade he tried to get through rejected, and he got forced to take Cespedes, who he didn't want. Shows you what Sandy Alderson knows. And then this season, he signs me and John's favorite player in the offseason, Alejandro frickin' Diaza. The guy's back 180, and he's starting in center field, and Sandy refuses to cut him. Does he not learn from his Chris Young and John Mayberry Jr. signings? I guess not. And then, just recently, he decides to send TJ Rivera to the minors instead of cutting Diaza when Cabrera comes off the DL and Cespedes comes from the DL. And TJ Rivera was leading the team in batting. He was batting .360. What more does TJ Rivera have to do to stay in the major leagues? And tonight he's not even starting. I don't understand it. The guy's batting .355 for the season now.
The Mets.
Look, I mean, the problems with Mets management and from the top down is pretty well documented at this point, and pretty boring argument to have. But I mean, even from the beginning of the season, you could see this thing going badly. Like, Cespedes is showing up to spring training in a new car every day. Like, Syndergaard's riding a horse to spring training. Like, you guys were throwing a World Series party in March. And, I mean, this is what happens. Like, someone's got to take control of this situation. You guys have way too much talent to be this fringy of a contender. Like, it's too much at this point.
Well, I said this at the beginning of the season. People can go back and listen to the show. Listen, the Mets caught lightning in a bottle a bunch of different ways last year. You know, you had Curtis Granderson found the fountain of youth. We got career years out of 3 pitchers. You know, outside of early injuries, we stayed pretty healthy. Even David Wright, who was banged up the whole year, when he did play, he produced pretty much. We had Lucas Duda, who had essentially the best month of his career, at least. And then we had Familia, who wasn't even supposed to be the closer, who turned out to be arguably the best closer in baseball last year. You know, all those things breaking in our favor again is really, really unlikely. And the fact that we didn't sign Murphy because where would he play with this packed lineup of ours it's really coming back to bite us in the ass, because, you know, the 200 hits Murphy has this year would have really helped this lineup. You know, I like Neil Walker, but in reality, he's a Band-Aid. We're not going to re-sign him next year when he's a free agent. We traded away the guy that Sandy thought was the future. So why? Who's the second baseman next year, and who's in the middle of this lineup next year? You know, if Cespedes decides to walk, you know, this team is an 80-win team next year. And then we wasted all this young pitching, and we won't re-sign that either. So, you know, the Mets window was very small, and I think it's already closed.
Yes, and Sandy Alderson is just not being an adequate GM right now. He didn't get insurance policies. There was no depth in the organization. Now we need a 4th and 5th pitcher. Understandable that you don't have that much depth, but you know, you heard about this guy for years. Last year, he decided to put himself in the DL a year. But Rafael Montero is about like 4 or 5-0 with a 2 ERA and AA this season. Why not call him up over Seth Lugo or Robert Gisselman or Logan Verrett? And why isn't Sean Gilmartin called up? The guy had like a 1 ERA all last season out of the pen.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, but wasn't Gilmartin up in the beginning of the season and he was bad? I mean, listen,
he only had 1 start in the beginning of the season, like a spot start. I could look up what he did. I would say he had like an average outing, but I'm pretty sure he can give you a better chance to win than John frickin' Neese.
Yeah. The Mets love affair with John Neese is the days are numbered. I think Mets fans might fully revolt here. John Neese has to be done. And, yeah, I mean, Rafa Montero. I mean, he was the next guy for the Mets, right? So it was Fulmer. Fulmer was going to be ready, and then it was going to be Montero ready, waiting in the wings to be that 4th or 5th guy. And I don't know what happened. Apparently he was getting crushed early in the year, and then he kind of pulled it back, but the Mets need to find something, or this back end of the rotation is really bad.
Yeah, and I mean, there is literally better pitchers in single A than John East. So, for example, PJ Conlon, who's trying to become the first Irish-born pitcher to be in the major leagues, he's a lefty, and in single A this season, he's 11-2 with a 1.81 ERA. Last year, Nick, you don't know this, but I worked for the Brooklyn Cyclones. I was their on-air host for their weekly show. So I interviewed this guy, saw him play. He's the real deal. Last year, his ERA for the season, obviously it's a shorter season in this with the Cyclones, his ERA was 0. This guy's the real deal. He should at least be in Double A by now, but I don't know what the deal is with their organizational philosophy. Montero's exact numbers right now in Double A: 4-2, 8 starts, 1.70 ERA. He should probably be at least in Triple A at this point. We don't know what Sandy's doing. John, you mentioned earlier what's the Mets' middle of the lineup going to be next year, and that's really a scary thought because we're probably looking at like Curtis Granderson and Asdrubal Cabrera batting 3-3, and then you got Jay Bruce in the mix. Unfortunately, Jay Bruce can't even make contact with the ball right now, so him along with Granderson are just total waste, automatic outs in the lineup right now.
Yeah, the Mets window was short. I like the Bruce deal. I think we did it 2 months too late. We broke camp in the spring with a bad, broken lineup. Duda goes a month without getting a hit every year. Now he's broken. He's hurt again. David Wright he's always on the DL. You penciled him in at third base with no real option anywhere else. It's just did they think Bartolo Colon was going to give him 20 wins? It's just the whole thing between Harvey going down again with the arm, which now you don't know what the hell you're going to get out of Harvey ever again. So now it's really Syndergaard and DeGrom, because Harvey's broken, and Wheeler, who the fuck knows. So now you got these. Now we have 2 stud pitchers, but in reality, we're not going to be able to re-sign them when we build this team up to be good again. The Mets window has essentially shut.
Yeah, I thought it was. I thought it was pretty telling when the Mets didn't sign Murphy for third base, because I thought that was kind of a like an endorsement of David Wright's health. I thought if the Mets didn't re-sign Murphy to play third, I thought that meant that they had a pretty good idea that David Wright was going to play like 150 games this year. Obviously, that's not happening. So
that's what me and John have been saying all this time. But you know who would be really good at first base right now for the Mets? Daniel Murphy, his best position.
Yeah, who would be good at any position for the Mets right now? Daniel Murphy.
Yeah, it's it's a real problem. But being a Met fan, I feel like it's 2001 or it's 2007. Our window has shut, and we're going to be bad for the next couple of years. And that's just essentially it. Ownership has showed that they're not going to go out and spend money the way the Yankees or Red Sox would. Even though we're in the biggest sports market in the world, they just they don't value that, and they built up enough equity with the fan base by making the World Series last year that they can be bad again for the next 5, 6, 7 years, and no one's really gonna. There won't be a big deal because 7-line idiots will still go, and people will go fucking nonsense.
Can't stand them.
It's the actual Met fans are gonna are most likely still going to show up.
I've only been to one game this year. I usually go to at least a game a month, and this year just hasn't been worth it financially and worth the traffic and the headache. And, after next year, Bruce is going to be gone, Granderson's going to be gone. The Mets will be looking for outfield help. So why don't they, like the rest of the league, head on out to Tim Tebow's MLB tryout coming out at the end of this month in California. Sandy said the Mets won't be there. Of course, they refuse to do anything like that. But Tim Tebow is going to be trying out for Major League Baseball teams. I think he'll definitely get signed because who wouldn't want him in the minor league team to increase ticket sales? No team in minor league baseball sells out really, except for the Cyclones, and that's just because it's Brooklyn and people are so excited to have baseball back there. But Tim Tebow, Gary Sheffield said this guy's got it. He's the real deal. He saw him in the cage. That could just be Gary talking as an agent there. You might want to sign Tebow, but from what we hear, Tim Tebow is a power-hitting, extremely quick on the base paths outfielder. What do you guys think of his chances to get signed to a minor league team?
You guys remember when Tim Tebow said that he wouldn't play any other position on the football field besides quarterback, and now he's going to play a whole other sport? Like this is just kind of like, if I'm a guy that's at AAA and I haven't really gotten my shot yet, I haven't got my look, I can't schedule a press conference where 30 teams come to watch me. I feel like I just got smacked in the face right now. I've been playing baseball my whole life. Tim Tebow hasn't played baseball since high school. He's going to come schedule a tryout where 20 teams are going to show up to watch some guy play who hasn't played in 10 years, and I've been grinding my ass at AAA for the last 2 or 3 years. I mean, this has to feel terrible for guys that are like right on the cusp and not getting their look.
Well, yeah, it's the same idea that, when Jordan was in the White Sox organization, he's taking at bats from some 18-year-old kid. We see it as fans at the minor leagues is developmental, and we think it's very much like the D League in the NBA. But in reality, they're each individual like companies almost. Like the Cyclones are very much attached to the Mets, but like the Mets AAA in Vegas, it used to be Norfolk, Virginia. That shit changes all the time. And that team in Norfolk, Virginia, or wherever the hell they are, they're trying to make money on their own because they don't necessarily make a shitload of money from the Mets. So that's sort of like the idea behind, hey, Jordan wants to play baseball, people will buy tickets, bring his ass here. Hey, if all the Jesus people in the area are going to come to watch my minor league baseball team in Oklahoma, fucking sign me up. Jesus playing third base. Because in reality, he's never going to make it to the show, but who gives a fuck? Because the minor league team is going to make a bunch of money on the tickets.
Well, that's what I said. Someone's going to sign him because it's going to be good for attendance. And, he was really given an unfair shake in the NFL because he, much like Vince Young, the two winningest quarterbacks of all time percentage-wise in the NFL history, both were they won. I mean, what more do you want from a quarterback than a winner? And both guys sizzled out of the league real quick because they weren't the prototypical in the pocket, tall, right-handed, throwing deep, strong arm in the wind quarterbacks, and it really wasn't fair.
Yeah, Vince Young.
Tim Tebow was bad, man. Vince Young was bad, dude.
Look at his record, though, Nick. He did not never win.
But he took 10 seconds to get the ball out of his hands. His windup looked like an MLB pitcher's. It was insane.
So I mean, you're saying that
he won a defense, but also the corpse of Peyton Manning. Corpse of Peyton Manning won a Super Bowl last year with the Broncos defense. He was there with a different Broncos defense, but a very, very good Broncos defense. Right when those guys were all young. I mean, listen, you can talk about him winning games all you want. He played for the Jets. You guys saw him. That guy's not a quarterback, and he was probably a good H-backer, a good tight end, but he always refused to play that position because he said he was a quarterback, and now he's playing baseball. So, Tim Tebow can get out of my Twitter feed. I'm done with him.
This is my difference between the two guys. Vince Young, he won a little bit, but he didn't put up numbers and blah blah blah. And then he was a big fat ass too. The last game that Tim Tebow got an honest start, like no shit, like this is your team. He beat the Steelers in a playoff game. And the idea that he ran him out of town after that. Listen, the Jets would sign up, for beating somebody in the playoffs right now. But what can you do? I assume, right?
Yeah, I
guess
go ahead, Nick.
I think it's one of those things where it's, you talk about winning because of your quarterback, you talk about winning in spite of your quarterback. I think Tebow was the textbook example of winning in spite of a quarterback.
Yeah, listen, the NFL, a lot of that, he can't play in this league, nonsense. The NFL is really, it's a real tight society. And listen, only about 30 guys can really play quarterback in the whole world in the NFL.
Listen, all I can say is Tim Tebow is better than a lot of quarterbacks right now. The fact that there's so many awful backup quarterbacks in the league, it just makes me scratch my head that some of these guys actually get jobs. And the fact that they get playing time and they get paid a lot of money. But that's just the NFL philosophy. All these general managers right now have the same thought process. Well, this guy had some very mild success, so he's an NFL quarterback. But that's just the philosophy going around in the NFL right now. And the NFL season will be kicking off really soon, obviously, coming up in 2 weeks. And we'll get more into the NFL as the weeks go on here. But let's talk about something a little bit more relevant at this point. That's the Olympic Games. They just ended. U.S. total domination. They won the most medals by, I think, like 48 medals, and more than anybody else. The big stories, Michael Phelps, best in the world, best swimmer in the world. Katie Ledecky, best female swimmer in the world. Lily King saying no, no, no to the Russian doper. She won gold. And it was a great Olympics all around. And before we talk about the off the field or out of the pool stuff, what were your takes on the Olympics? USA Dream Team, if you want to call it, the 2016 version. Women's basketball destroyed and dominated. USA men's basketball won by the most decorated basketball Olympian of all time, the point leader in Olympic history and rebound leader, Carmelo Anthony. So what were your guys' takes on the Olympic Games?
Honestly, the medal count, when you look at it top to bottom, is just like embarrassing for the rest of the world, right? USA, 120 medals. China was next closest with 70. UK with 60. I mean, it's tough to, like, I don't know. If I'm men's basketball or if I'm women's basketball, and I think you saw this like in the medal rounds leading up to the gold medal game, it's kind of hard to get up for that game, you know? Like, if you're mellow and you know you're going back to a Knicks team that, you know, the jury's still out on, it's probably going to be bad if I know anything about the Knicks.
Absolutely.
And
they'll definitely miss the playoffs, but let's go back to
yeah, right. Right. So you're gearing up, you're getting ready to go home for that. You know you're playing a shitty team. You're probably going out with the boys. I know it's documented that a few of them went to the brothel, like, first night in Rio. I mean, like, how are they expected to play their best? Like, Coach K didn't even make them practice. I went to North Carolina. I hate Coach K. But,
he's the worst.
I mean, the fact that I think that the word on the street is that they practice, like, twice their whole time in Rio. Like, the U.S. basketball, like, program is going to get passed. And it's probably going to be when Ben Simmons and Thon Maker and these young NBA players.
Be really good next Olympics. They came in fourth place this time. That was without Exum and, as you mentioned, Ben Simmons. So they'll probably be the second best team in the world at worst.
I think they're going to be the best team in the world, especially if the U.S. team just goes into the Olympics with this attitude and they don't play together ever. They're going to get beat next Olympics.
Well, we'll see. But if the U.S. players would man up, like we were calling for in our earlier shows, there was no reason that LeBron James, who now said I'm going to be there in 2020, Steph Curry, Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Kevin Love, and Blake Griffin all shouldn't have been there, because it just doesn't make any sense to me why you wouldn't want to play for your nation. And they're going to say, I don't have any time to rest. The season doesn't start till what, November now? You got plenty of time to rest.
Yeah, it's listen, my first statement about the Olympics is A, let's stop having it in third world shitholes. B, listen, they're not motivated to really work together and practice it. There's no one pushing them. And honestly, listen, in 4 years, if LeBron and Steph Curry show up, Australia is not going to make any real noise. Listen, this was a team of guys who were chilling on a cruise ship, and they still went out there and smacked people up. I don't think they need to do anything until there's nobody really knocking on the door right now where I'm like, oh no, they better really get their shit together. It's as long as we keep sending pros, we'll keep winning gold.
Well,
Yeah, I think you're probably right, and can I just endorse your comments about stop having the Olympics in these countries that just aren't ready for it? It's unbelievable. I got to run in a minute here, guys, but on the Lofty thing, if I can jump into that for a second. I mean, honestly, what'd the guy do? He went down. He had a few too many in Rio after he won a gold medal. And he basically got extorted. I mean, he lied. He maybe lied about the gun to his head. He maybe lied about what they were doing. They pissed maybe all over the floor. They maybe broke a sandwich sign. But, if that happens and it's the Brazilian team in America, is it even a headline?
Right.
I'm not so.
The crazy thing is the
I'm
media
not so sure
here is giving the guy such a hard time when, in fact, he actually did have a gun pointed at him, and he actually was forced to pay the people at the gas station. So, John,
Right.
I have a strong take on this. Why is it that the media is giving Brazil a break for actually taking a gun out and pointing it at an Olympian and saying, give me money or you're not leaving, but they're not giving a break to the guy who actually had a gun pointed at him and basically had his money extorted from him?
Oh, absolutely. This is stereotypical of the terrible mainstream media that's run amok. Journalism is just completely thrown out the window. I read a great tweet about this the other day. It said the media is more upset about him lying than they are about Hillary Clinton lying. It's insane. Listen, the guy was drunk and broke some stuff in the bathroom. Okay. When do you ever do the cops ever show up and say, give me money for this broken shit? That's robbery. I don't care what you say it is. But the idea that our media, and this is really, they're really terrible about it, is that Americans are held to some higher standard than the rest of the world. Oh, he shouldn't have been drunk and doing this, blah, 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 blah. Listen, he just won a gold medal. He's in a third world country. What else is he going to do? So he got fucking drunk, broke a sign in some shithole bathroom. Listen, it's a third world country bathroom. How fucked up could it be? So the idea that someone showed up with a gun, speaking a different language, and demanded money off him, that's called robbery. Did he flash it up a little bit? Who knows? Maybe he was fucking loaded, doesn't even remember. It doesn't matter. The whole nonsense, Speedo dropping him and everything is just the Brazilians don't know any better than to extort you at fucking gunpoint.
Right.
Yeah,
they find
definitely a bunch of nonsense. And as I said, double the Durst, double the danger. Nick, it's been a pleasure to have you on. We'll definitely have to have you on again at some point to talk about the Knicks, which we're all fans of. We do some NFL talk and New York Ranger talk down the line. But let everybody know out there where they could follow you and a little bit more about your show before you go.
Okay, so it's just kind of my opinions on all the stuff kind of you guys are talking about right now, more in the sports realm than the political realm. I mean, you guys delve in there, which I really appreciate on the show. But yeah, mostly hovering in the New York sports realm, just kind of, the odd sports stories that you hear about. But it's nicksportstalkradio.podbean.com. So thanks so much for having me on the show, guys. I had a great time. Call me. You have my number. We'll get it going again soon.
Sounds good, man.
Absolutely.
All right. Great. Bye.
Have a good night, Nick. So there you have it. The first time in the history of radio, two guys with the same name who don't even know each other, aren't related, hosting a show together. And John, before I get back to Olympics here, we got a comment from Otto, he happened to be at a popular sports bar. Otto says last time I went on one of the internet dates from Plenty of Fish, we met at Buffalo Wild Wings and we had 3 minutes of talk. She then hooked to the Wi-Fi and was on Facebook. Even while she ordered it, I went to the bathroom and left. So thank you for that. Yeah, Buffalo Wild Wings, I guess is probably not a good spot for a first blind date.
No, it's actually a great spot for a couple reasons. A, lots of TV, so you can watch some sports while she's running her stuck about I'm sure her babies that she has at home if she's on Plenty of Fish, and there's a lot of exits and entrances. So when it's going terrible, you have a good escape route.
Yep, that is true. One last thing I want to touch on with the Olympics is that the bullshit of the NCAA here, where if you're going to be in college after the Olympics, you're not allowed to take any endorsements. So Katie Ledecky, who won all these medals, is going to be a freshman at Stanford, and she has to say goodbye to millions of dollars because she's not allowed to take any of it because she's going to be a student at college. I mean, isn't that ridiculous?
That is ridiculous. Listen, I'm not in that position, but if I was, and I was her father or agent or something like that, I would say, hey, fuck Stanford, because, obviously it's a great school, blah, 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 blah. But are you going to go college swimming? No. You're the best in the world. Time to, cash out. Time to make your money while, hit while the iron's hot. You can go to Stanford 3 years, 4 years from now when you can no longer swim, because your window to be an Olympic athlete is so, so small that, why would you, she's not going to make any money 10 years from now on endorsements. She's just not. She needs to make it now.
Well, this is what should be allowed. Either let them take the endorsements, or let them take the endorsements and then pay their own way into college, and because they can afford it at that point, and then still let them compete. Why can't they compete if they took money from winning Olympic medals?
Yeah, there is no reason. It's just the whole college sports thing is just ridiculous. Hold on a second. We got our field reporter calling in. He was trying to call in before, but I couldn't get him in. So let's get Andrew in here. He's blowing on my phone, but I couldn't get him in, so now I'm calling him out. Andrew! Hold on. I can't hear my mic!
Wait, is Mike Francesa on with us?
Hold on. Andrew, hold on. Let's call this fucking guy. Andrew!
Hey, everyone.
Hey, he's here! What's going on, man?
Everyone. Well, first of all, 2 points. Number one, I really enjoyed your interview, guys, with the other Nick Durst. I felt that he was just as knowledgeable of sports as you guys, obviously, considering that, the Mets are in their emergency state of the union right now. And number two, Sandra Cotton last week, amazing interview.
That's all, Nick.
Thank you very much. We really did enjoy having her on. That was the more part of our show. It's really nice to every once in a while go outside of our usual sports and politics box. So we're glad you enjoyed that. And if anyone wants to check out that episode, if they missed it, you can go to knickknacknews.wordpress.com. We got there. Look under Spam, Sports, Politics, and More, Episode 3. It was definitely a good show.
Before I forget, I wanted to plug my buddy's podcast. So a friend of mine that I've known for years now, we went to high school together, he does a podcast where he talks about like pop culture and video games. It's called Retrocade, like arcade Retrocade, so it's about retro video games. You can catch it on YouTube where all of them are reposted, but they're also on Spotify and on Facebook and basically all over. Check it out, really good show. I think I might end up being a guest on that show at some point, so we have to get him on here as well. He's a big sports fan. He's actually one of those like crazy sports fans. I think he's like a Bengals fan and like a Pirates fan. He went to college in Pittsburgh, and his sports affiliations were all fucked up. But good guy.
All right, there you go. Check out that show, and hopefully we'll have him on one week. We have some comments from the chat going based up on our little discussion me and John just had. We have a comment from Louis Cipher who says, "Cash the money now. F college, agreed. She can always go to college later." And Otto says, "I don't think colleges should have sports." Well, NCAA is just the biggest scam in the world. All they do is they're just the money-making business. The endowment for Harvard is about like $2 billion a year, and they say they're not profit. They don't have to pay taxes. Like, that's just a joke to me. And I can only imagine with these SEC schools like Alabama or these Big Ten schools like Ohio State, type of money they're making.
They absolutely.
Well, keep in mind here that college sports, we absolutely have to have them in bars, obviously. Look how many people cram into a bar when there's a big college football game going on or when it's March Madness. The NCAA relies on these big events.
It's a money-making machine, but back to what Nick was getting at was, listen, the whole higher education system needs to be revamped because right now it's just a money printing machine. Because think about this: you play running back for SC, SC, I don't know, USC rather, right?
USC, the worst school, the biggest scam
they
school.
sell your jersey with your number on the back of it. That's your number for you. They're making money off of what you do and what you're doing. But if you blow out your knee your junior year and you can't play football anymore, you walk away from that school with nothing. And Nick, like us, think about how much that St. John's degree was. Thank God I and you were smart enough to get like actual communications and business degrees and get jobs. But listen, they offer degrees that you could spend $120,000 on a degree and come away with the women's studies or bullshit degrees where they're
if people go to school at St. John's or any school really, and they study astronomy, and really all they're doing at school is wasting space.
And wasting. So to get back on how this is, our problem is, so they take out these federal loans that they qualify for because they're broke. They go to school. A lot of them don't finish. We saw that, where in the fall, our class would have 40 people, and halfway through the semester, it'd be like me, you, that girl Bronte, and like an Indian kid, and everybody else stopped showing up. It was like crazy. Every year, the freshman class just
people
not sure.
The class.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I don't remember the Indian kid, but the three of us would always be in class. And I was
Indian kid, yeah. I don't remember his name.
Let me bring up who we always bring up. That stupid girl in our class.
Oh my God, yeah.
Class. She was a total waste of her parents' money because this girl would just come to class late with like a big ass Starbucks cup. Halfway through, get up and go to the. She'd come in late. Then she'd go to the bathroom a few minutes later. Come back after 25 minutes. Then she'd sit down for a little bit. Pick up her Starbucks cup, walk to the garbage, throw it out. And then she'd leave before class ended. This girl was a total idiot. She did not care at all about school. She was totally wasting time.
Do you remember when? I think it might have been Legakis. I don't remember exactly who it was. But like they made us go around and talk about like what her major was and like whatever. And she was like majoring in like some other bullshit in like drama, and she wanted to be on TV. Like, listen, you're fucking fat. I'm sorry. There's no you're not a big fat ass, but you're too fat to be on TV. You're not good looking enough to be on TV. You're not going to be on TV, honey. Go to class, do your fucking homework. But
well, here we got some comments from the chat. A lot of people are liking this discussion here. Otto says, I think there is too much money diverted from the studies. He says the university can't provide for education. Classes cost too damn much. And books are crazy cost. Kids can't get into schools, and the school gets a new stadium. Universities are almost the only place a Bolshevik can get a regular paying job outside of Starbucks or government/DNC position. Other comments here before we digest that one is Louis Cipher says college don't teach shit now but victimhood. Andrew UCY says sometimes these athletes don't focus on their academics. Baconator 1000 says that's for the baby boomers who are double dipping out of the university system to pay for their luxurious ride. Louis Cipher says football matters most. Andrew UCY says considering how there's a college football playoff bracket. And then Baconator says they do their 20 to 25 years, get retirement, they come back and get a consultant job with the same union or the same university or some administrative job. They make bank at the university. So yeah, a lot of crazy stuff going on in the chat. But a lot of people do definitely agree with us on on how the college system is just absolutely corrupt.
Indeed, it is. It definitely it is. Considering how that most jobs now require you to have a 2-year degree. I found out, I don't know what source this was, but apparently if you do a 4-year degree, you're getting robbed.
It really depends. Like there's a lot of variation there because like St. John's is a great example because it's so fucking expensive. But in reality, they make you waste money. Like I had to take 9 credits of theology and 9 credits of philosophy. That's 18 credits that I could basically throw in the garbage or are useless for anything else. Like, Nick, I don't know if I told you this or not, but I'm starting my MBA program over again now, and I'm going to MIT. But before I do that, I have to take 2 classes of economics prior to starting my MBA that St. John's didn't make me take.
That's ridiculous.
I took the 2 economics classes at St. John's. I guess it just depends on if you did the minor or not. Yeah, but like the philosophy classes are the biggest waste of a class. Like, there's no need to study that at all. Total waste. And I know, Andrew, you're a really philosophical person. You recently just, took another vacation. You go on vacations like crazy, and you did make some stops along the way to eat. Where did you eat?
Well, I'll get into the Connecticut eateries. First day, okay, I'll just go into Westchester first. The first day, I was on the road, I went to the El Dorado Diner in Tarrytown, New York, and got a good grilled chicken sandwich, and I got an amazing slice of chocolate cake. And there was this other place I went to in Newtown called the Blue Something Diner. I forget the name of it right now. It was okay, nothing that great to write home about other than, you're on I-84, just eat there, yada, yada, yada. And then I went to the Galaxy Diner in Bridgeport. It's a small diner, but, if you're in Bridgeport, go check it out, I guess.
Nice. What'd you order from there? What'd you order from the second place?
Let's see. I went there twice. So the first time I went in Newtown, I got a Western omelet because it was late that night. And the second time I went, I believe I got a grilled chicken sandwich plain with French fries. So, yeah, I'm not an exciting eater.
Hey, listen, I order the same thing every time I go to a diner. I always get chicken fingers and French fries and a grilled cheese, and then I make that shit into a sandwich.
Well, every time you go to Chick-fil-A, you always order the same chicken sandwich, don't you?
Every time. If it's not broke, don't fix it. That's what I say.
Yeah. But, Nick, you were asking me on Facebook earlier today that, my top 5 favorite places to eat and my top 5 diner meals. If that's okay if I want to get it out. Is that okay, Nick?
Yeah, waiting for you. The fans are salivating at the mouths here. They want to know your list of places to eat in the Northeast.
Okay, so I'll quickly get into the story. I was at Northwell Health earlier because that's where I work, and Nick was asking me about, continuing our discussion on travel. So I came up with a list today right before noon, and I came up with top 5 favorite diners that I enjoy along with top 5, favorite diner meals. So I'm going to start off with the top 5 favorite diners. One of them I just went to a few hours ago, the Majestic Diner in Westbury, New York. Number 2, the Apollo Diner in East Meadow, New York. Number 3 now, I have to add El Dorado after the cake I just had. Number 4, Ponzio's in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And number 5, the TikTok Diner in Clifton, which, believe it or not, is right by MetLife Stadium.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. And without further ado, I'm going to get into my favorite diner meals, and I'm going to get into it right now. Number 1, grilled chicken sandwich with mozzarella cheese. Keeping in mind here, you go to TikTok Diner, they make an amazing club sandwich with grilled chicken. Number 2, I like chicken parmesan with pasta. I'm more of the penne type of guy, which I just had a few hours ago. Number 3, and this is only at Ponzio's, everyone, the Mary Ann. If you want to look it up, it's on the Ponzio's Diner website. Number 4, chicken marsala. I love the wine sauce. And number 5, Western omelets.
Nice. So, did you get my tweet today about what I had in the city?
Oh, yeah. Basically today, earlier, John was telling me that he went to Hooters in Midtown, and he got the $9.99 Wing Wednesday deal. Can you explain to our listeners what is that?
You can't beat it. I ended up having a couple beers at lunch as well. But essentially, you get 10 boneless wings and an order of fries for $9. Can't beat that. My bill ended up being about $40 because I had 3 beers afterwards. But the food was very cheap and delicious.
Yeah,
And
just like how Chick-fil-A is $8.99 for my meal.
Yep. Yeah, essentially, it's the same. It's the same price as like
So,
like,
for all of our listeners out there, back in our previous inception of the show, Andrew would always talk about how he passed Chick-fil-A after seeing Regis Philbin, and there'd be crazy lines and stuff. And then one day, while I was away on vacation, these two guys, John and Andrew, decided to actually go to Chick-fil-A. I'd love to know a little bit more about that outing.
I gotta tell you, the Chick-fil-A in Midtown over where I work on the west side, they like when we first walked in, it was fucking crazy packed, and I was like, oh god damn it. But this broad came up to us with an iPad, asked us our name and what we wanted, and then by the time we got to the counter, our food was ready. So like they just like pumped us in and out, in and out, in and out. Oh, it was phenomenal.
Yeah, and it was very good. I mean, we were treated like we were royalty, basically. And there's an upstairs seating area, and when we went up there, basically the whole place was packed, and we basically didn't even get a seat almost until a nice lady next to us just said, "Here you go, 2 seats, guys, just take it." And I got the chicken sandwich, and it was pretty good, but the main highlight had to be the waffle fries. The waffle fries there are amazing.
Yeah, I gotta I'm not a crazy good big Chick-fil-A guy because I had it a lot when I was down south, so I wasn't that crazy about it. But I have to give credit where credit is due. That shit's pretty good eats.
Yeah, and in fact, there's 2 Chick-fil-A's opening around the New York City area. One I'm not that thrilled about because of the location. They're opening it in the Queens Center Mall, where, to be honest, Elmhurst is bad in terms of getting there and blah, blah, blah. But the other location I'm looking forward to, and you guys can look it up on Facebook later if you want, Chick-fil-A Hicksville, Long Island. They're opening a Chick-fil-A in the 516 this fall, located in the parking lot of the Broadway Mall.
Oh, so we know that Andrew's going to be out there camping out to be the first one online, to be the first person
Actually,
there.
no. That's not what's going to happen. Everybody probably knows my YouTube channel by now, Andy's Randomness, where, I like to try out fast food, obviously. Basically, when it opens, me and Glenn, because that's the guy who is my partner when we do these videos, he's going to drive me out there, hopefully, and we're hopefully going to get our first drive-thru experience at Chick-fil-A in Hicksville.
Oh, so you won't be camping out. He'll be driving through. And then, John, I don't know what do you think about this, but if after Andrew's done either running for mayor or if he doesn't decide to run for mayor or after he serves his term as mayor, maybe he can open up his own Chick-fil-A franchise in Fresh Meadows. What do you think?
Brilliant idea. But, guys, you gotta look at the clock. The show's about over, so we need to get to the hard-hitting issues. Andrew, what do you think about Hillary's health?
Listen, Hillary shouldn't even be running in the first place. She should just go to prison already, for crying out loud.
Andrew, if I get you a Hillary for Prison t-shirt, will you wear it?
I will wear it. I definitely will.
Nice. That's it. We gotta get spam Hillary for Prison shirts.
Yes, agreed.
Nick, you gonna wear yours?
Yeah. I'll wear it. I probably won't wear it to work, but I'll wear it.
Oh, at work, I have to pretend like I'm not a Trump supporter. It's very, very hard.
Well, it's funny because I do the same thing. I just ignore the political conversations, but I found out that a fellow coworker is a big Trump supporter. She told me that in 2012 she met Trump and told him to run for president. I don't know how true that is, but she was on like the O'Reilly factor after the DNC. And they're like, what grade would you give the DNC? And she said a big fat F.
Agreed. And you know what's
Nice,
crazy? In 2012, believe it or not, I was originally supporting Herman Cain because basically, like Donald Trump, he was a political outsider. And believe it or not, I thought Herman was the right guy to beat Obama at the time, considering that, He has economic experience in terms of running his own business with Godfather's Pizza, and I thought that he was the right guy until somehow he's like, oh, well, I have all the sex scandals. And that was like the biggest political disappointment in my view.
Wait, who had all these sex scandals?
Herman Cain.
Oh, that guy's a fucking nutcase. Listen, you know how I'm a Rand Paul guy. I like a lot of his ideas, but he's too crazy. Listen, the only person who could really win right now is Donald Trump because he's a little more centered than a lot of these guys.
And I have a message for the coal miners. Keep this in mind. I am voting for Donald Trump to help you guys out. Okay? I don't want to see you guys lose your jobs or lose your pensions. If you vote for Hillary, Hillary's going to destroy your livelihood. So think about the coal workers.
So there you have it. I know we have a lot of coal miners that listen to our show. So I'm sure they're very glad to hear that you are going to be voting for Donald Trump to make a better America for them.
Hey, we'll do a Did You Vote episode in November.
We have to, because I definitely am going to vote, considering that November 8th is actually my real 21st birthday.
Oh, shit. Suki. Nice.
What a great president it would be to have Donald Trump become president. Wouldn't it?
All right, listen. It's 8:58. We got to wrap up the show. So basically, you want to follow Nick. He's at Nick_Durst. SI Sports for John. And me, Andrew, I'm at Andy's Randomness. So until next week, guys, take care.
All right. Thanks, Andrew. And John's actually at SI_Sports. But yeah, John, real quick, tell everybody about our new Twitter handle.
Yeah, so the new Twitter for the show is spam_UCYTV because of the new station, new show. So I'm trying to build up a following. I'm going to try to tweet mostly sports and politics and stuff, but I do find some crazy shit every so often. What are you going to do? What do you think we should go with the Twitter from now on?
I think we should use it to promote our show, our page. Tweet people that are relevant in the news. Nothing too crazy, though, so we don't get in trouble. And real quick before we go, Otto with the comment here saying, shout out.